Vienna.
Table of contents.
All about Vienna, with visiting and touring information, geography, history, attractions, and other points of interest.
Dr. Sydney Soclof. Dr. Sydney 22@gmail.com. 2022. Narration by Dr. Sydney Soclof.
Zoe Phonemes.
And Nathan Koltov. For a more complete discussion of YouTube navigation, please go to this video using the link here.
Chapter 2. Austria. This is the Wachau Valley in Austria.
This is a map of Austria, showing the Danube and Vienna.
Here is the landlocked country of Austria, with the neighboring countries of Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Slovenia, Italy, and Switzerland, and Liechtenstein.
Chapter 3. The Blue Danube. Is the Danube really blue?
The Blue Danube is the common English title of the waltz, Onder schönen blauen Donau, or by the beautiful Blue Danube, by the Austrian composer Johann Strauss II, composed in 1866.
The Danube used to be blue, as a slow-moving unpolluted river, although it was never blue near Vienna. However, although it was, it still is blue, if you go far enough upstream.
The Danube is a fast-flowing, turbulent river, and many of the rivers that flow into it, such as the Inn at Passau, carry extensive glacial debris, which makes them have a greater white appearance, although they are not polluted.
The idea of the Blue Danube is thus a poetic one, based on our ideal concept of a river.
Chapter 4. Vienna.
Vienna is in German pronounced Wien. It is the capital, and by far the largest city of Austria, with a population of about 1.9 million, and 2.6 million in the metropolitan area. This represents nearly one-third of Austria's total population of 8.8 million.
The population of Vienna at 1.9 million is much larger than other cities in Austria, with Graz at only 222,000, Linz at 181,000, Salzburg at 150,000, and Innsbruck at 112,000.
Vienna is the cultural, economic, and political center of Austria. It is the seventh largest city in the European Union.
Vienna was the capital of the vast multi-ethnic Austro-Hungarian Empire, which ended with World War I in 1918, at which time there were 2 million inhabitants in Vienna.
This shows the population of Vienna 1590 to 2013. We see the rapid growth to a peak at the beginning of World War I in 1914. Then with the breakup of the Austro-Hungarian Habsburg Empire in 1918, there is a sharp decline, with some recovery in the 1980s.
Until 1900, Vienna was the largest German-speaking city in the world. Today, it has the third largest number of German speakers after Berlin and Hamburg.
This is the Vienna Ringstrasse and State Opera around 1870.
This is Vienna circa 1900.
This is a map of Vienna, showing the historic center at Stephansdom, and the Danube Canal, Donaukanal, that flows close by.
This is a satellite view of Vienna, showing the historic center at Stephansdom, and the Danube Canal, Donaukanal, that flows close by.
This is another satellite view of Vienna, showing the historic center at Stephansdom, and the Danube Canal, Donaukanal, that flows close by.
This is a map of Vienna, showing the historic center within the Ringstrasse, and the Danube Canal, Donaukanal.
This shows the location of the Vienna Rathaus, City Hall, and the University of Vienna in relation to Stephansdom.
Chapter 5. The history of Vienna. Vienna was founded around 500 BC as a Celtic settlement. The name Wien is derived from the Celtic word Vdunia for river in the woods.
In 15 BC, Vienna became a Roman frontier city, Vindobona, guarding the Roman Empire against Germanic tribes to the north.
The Roman Empire had boundaries of the Danube River to the north, and the Rhine to the east, as well as Hadrian's Wall on the north in the province of Britannia.
The Roman frontier city of Vindobona was on the south side of the Danube River, which marked the northern boundary of the Roman Empire.
Vienna became the capital of the Babenberg dynasty and subsequently of the Austrian Habsburgs, under whom it became one of Europe's cultural hubs.
In 1529, Vienna was besieged by the Ottoman Turks in the First Turkish Siege. Vienna unsuccessfully withstood the siege.
Vienna was protected by medieval walls and only barely withstood the attacks. Epidemics and an early winter forced the Turks to retreat.
The siege had shown that new fortifications were needed. Vienna was expanded to a fortress in 1548.
Vienna was surrounded by 11 bastions and a moat. A broad strip without any building called a glacis allowed the defenders to fire freely.
The fortifications became decisive in the Second Turkish Siege of 1683. Vienna was able to resist for 2 months until the Turkish army was defeated by the army led by the Polish King John III Sobieski. This was the turning point in the Turkish Wars, as the Ottoman Empire was pushed back further south during the following decades.
From the 1700s to the early 1900s, Vienna was the preeminent city for the composition and playing of classical music,
with important composers as Mozart, Beethoven, Haydn, Strauss, Schubert, Mahler, and Schönberg.
Vienna was the capital of the Austrian Empire and later Austria-Hungary during the 19th century and became one of Europe's biggest cities.
Habsburg Emperor Joseph II ruled the vast Austro-Hungarian Empire from the capital at Vienna. Although German was the dominant language, many other languages and ethnic groups were within this very extensive empire.
This is the Austro-Hungarian Habsburg Empire, with Vienna, its capital city. The vast Austro-Hungarian Habsburg Empire was dissolved at the end of World War I in 1918. The main German-speaking area became the Republic of Austria, with Vienna as the capital. In March 1938 Vienna and all of Austria were annexed, the Anschluss, by Nazi Germany.
The name Austria, Österreich in German, meaning Eastern Realm, was replaced by Ostmark, referring to the 10th century Marcha Orientalis, in reference to Austria as the new Eastern March of the Reich.
Austria participated in World War II as part of Nazi Germany.
At the end of World War II, Austria, like Germany, was divided into zones of occupation by the Allied powers, with occupation zones of the Soviet Union, United States, UK, and France. Also, at the end of World War II, Vienna, like Berlin, was divided into zones of occupation by the Allied powers. Vienna was divided into 5 occupation zones between the Soviet Union, the United States, the UK, France, and the 1st District, city center, being patrolled by all 4.
In 1955, Austria regained its political independence and sovereignty with neutrality and non-alignment similar to that of Switzerland.
Public transport in Vienna was improved by the introduction of the new U-Bahn network, the first part of which was opened in 1978.
During the 1970s, Vienna became the third official seat of the United Nations, and the UNO city was built.
Vienna has about 17,000 diplomats, many assigned to international organizations. Because of their presence in Austria's neutrality, Vienna became an important center for espionage, as depicted in the motion picture, The Third Man. During the Cold War, the city allegedly had more spies than Austrian soldiers.
Chapter 6. Vienna Cruise Port.
Most river cruise ships tie up on the Danube at the Ringstrasse terminal on the Handelskaj. There is no actual city center mooring because the Danube was diverted years ago to the east of the city to avoid flooding.
This shows the location of the Vienna cruise port at the Ringstrasse terminal at Handelskaj on the Danube.
This is a satellite view of the location of the Vienna cruise port at the Ringstrasse terminal on Handelskaj.
This is a map of the extensive Vienna subway system, U-Bahn.
The Vienna cruise port is just a 4-minute ride by subway, U-Bahn, from the Ringstrasse station into the center of the city at Stephansplatz.
From the Ringstrasse dock, bridge dock, it's a 9-minute walk, 650 meters, to the Ringstrasse U-Bahn station. Then it's the U1 line in the direction of Vienna for 4 stops, taking only 4 minutes to the Stephansplatz station, and the center of Vienna in the inner city.
The U-Bahn station closest to the cruise port is Ringstrasse on the U1 line. It goes directly to the center of the inner city station at Stephansplatz and Karlsplatz.
Most points of interest in Vienna are easily accessible from the U-Bahn starting from Ringstrasse. This includes the Schonbrunn Palace on the U4 line, as well as the Belvedere on the S1, S2, and S4 S-Bahn lines.
Chapter 7. Ringstrasse. The Ringstrasse or Ring Road is a circular grand boulevard that encircles the historic Innenstadt, Old Town, area of Vienna.
This is a depiction of Vienna in the Nuremberg Chronicle, 1493, showing the city wall.
This is Vienna in 1683. Some of the city has now spread out beyond the city wall.
By the year 1827, the city of Vienna had still not expanded beyond its medieval fortress walls. This was due to constant attacks from the Turks. These attacks meant that the expansion of the city was late in comparison to other historical cities, such as Paris and London.
By 1833, Vienna had expanded with suburbs outside the medieval walls, but the inner city area was still surrounded by fortifications.
In 1857, Emperor Franz Joseph decided to remove the old city walls. The fortifications were torn down in its place. The Ringstrasse was built around the inner city of Vienna.
The Ringstrasse was constructed after the dismantling of the city walls in the mid-19th century. The Ringstrasse was located where medieval city fortifications once stood, including broad open fields adjacent to the walls.
From the 1860s to 1890s, many large public buildings were erected along the Ringstrasse in an eclectic style, sometimes called the Ringstrasse Stil, Ring Road style, using elements of classical, Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque architecture.
Because of its architectural beauty and history, the Vienna Ringstrasse has been called the Lord of the Ring Roads, and is part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Vienna.
Chapter 8. Hofburg Imperial Palace.
The Hofburg or Castle of the Court was the principal imperial palace of the Habsburg dynasty rulers from 1438 until the end of World War I in 1918. Today it serves as the official residence and office of the President of Austria.
The Hofburg is located in the center of Vienna, and was built in the 13th century, and expanded several times afterwards. It served as the Imperial winter residence, and the Schönbrunn Palace was the summer residence.
This is the Hofburg Imperial Palace Complex.
This is the Hofburg Imperial Palace Complex.
This is a map of the area near the Hofburg complex.
This is a detailed view of the Hofburg Imperial Palace Complex.
The Spanish riding school, Spanische Hofreitschule, is a traditional riding school for Lipizzaner horses. It is the oldest of its kind in the world, and a tourist attraction offering public performances and viewing of training sessions.
The Spanish riding school was named for the Spanish horses of the Lipizzaner breed, used exclusively at the school. The leading horses and riders of the Spanish riding school also periodically tour and perform worldwide.
Chapter 9. St. Stephen's Cathedral.
St. Stephen's Cathedral, or Stephansdom, is the church of the Archbishop of Vienna and the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Vienna.
The current Romanesque and Gothic form of the cathedral, seen today in the Stephansplatz, was largely initiated by Duke Rudolf IV, 1339–1365, and stands on the ruins of two earlier churches. The first a parish church consecrated in 1147.
St. Stephen's Cathedral is the most important religious building in Vienna, and with its multicolored tile roof has become one of Vienna's most recognizable symbols.
This shows the location of St. Stephen's Cathedral, or Stephansdom, in the historic center of Vienna.
This is the area in the vicinity of St. Stephen's Cathedral.
This is the area near St. Stephen's Cathedral.
Chapter 10. Vienna Opera House.
The Vienna State Opera, Wiener Staatsoper, was the first major building on the Vienna Ringstrasse. Work started in 1861 and was completed in 1869, in the Neo-Renaissance style.
The Wiener Staatsoper is one of the busiest opera houses in the world, producing 50 to 60 operas a year. And it is common to find a different opera being performed each day of the week.
The seating capacity of the Vienna State Opera is 1,709, with standing room for an additional 567.
This shows the location of the Vienna State Opera in relation to Stephansdom.
Chapter 11. Schönbrunn Palace. Schönbrunn Palace, Schloss Schönbrunn, is a former Habsburg imperial summer palace in Vienna. The name Schönbrunn means beautiful spring, and derives from a spring that supplied water to the court.
The Baroque palace is vast with 1,441 rooms. It is one of the most important architectural, cultural, and historical monuments in Austria, and a major tourist attraction.
The history of the palace and its vast gardens spans over 300 years, dating back to 1569, when the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian II purchased a large area on the outskirts of Vienna to be used as a hunting and recreation ground.
The Schönbrunn Palace as it is today was built between 1740 and the 1750s during the reign of Empress Maria Theresa.
These are the Schönbrunn Palace Gardens.
The Schönbrunn Palace Gardens was the site of the world's first zoo in 1752.
Schönbrunn reflects the tastes, interests, and aspirations of Habsburg monarchs from Empress Maria Theresa in 1740, through the last emperor, Franz Joseph. He was the longest reigning emperor of Austria, who was born at Schönbrunn, and died there at the age of 86, in 1916.
This shows the location of Schönbrunn with respect to Stephansdom in the center of Vienna.
Chapter 12. Belvedere Palace.
The Belvedere is a historic building complex in Vienna consisting of two Baroque palaces, the Upper and Lower Belvedere, the Orangery, and the palace stables. The palace complex was built in the early 18th century as a summer residence for Prince Eugene of Savoy, and now houses the Belvedere Museum.
The Belvedere was built during a period of extensive construction in Vienna, which at the time was both the imperial capital and home to the ruling Habsburg dynasty. This period of prosperity followed from the commander-in-chief Prince Eugene of Savoy's successful conclusion of a series of wars against the Ottoman Empire.
Today the Belvedere houses not only Austrian art from the Middle Ages to the present day, but also the world's largest Klimt collection, with the golden paintings The Kiss and Judith as the highlights. Works of French Impressionism and the Vienna Biedermeier are also in the exhibition.
This shows the location of Belvedere Palace with respect to Schonbrunn and Stephansdom in the center of Vienna.
Chapter 13. University of Vienna and City Hall.
The Vienna City Hall, Wiener Rathaus, is in the Innere district. It was constructed between 1872 to 1883 in a neo-Gothic style.
The University of Vienna, in German, Universität Wien, was founded by Duke Rudolf IV in 1365, and is one of the oldest universities in the German-speaking world.
The University of Vienna is one of the largest universities in Europe with 94,000 students and is associated with 20 Nobel Prize winners.
This shows the location of the Vienna Rathaus, City Hall, and the University of Vienna in relation to Stephansdom.
Chapter 14. The Vienna International Center, or VIC, is the building complex of the United Nations office at Vienna, UNOV.
This is a view of the Vienna International Center.
The VIC was built between 1973 and 1979 on the other side of the Danube from the center of Vienna.
6 Y-shaped office towers surround a cylindrical conference building. About 5,000 people work at the VIC, which is an extraterritorial area, exempt from the jurisdiction of local law. The Austria Center Vienna is a conference and exhibition center with a capacity of 6,000.
Chapter 15. The Prater.
The Wiener Prater is a large public park in Vienna. The Prater amusement park, often simply called Prater, is in one corner of the Wiener Prater.
The Wiener Riesenrad, Viennese traveling wheel, is a Ferris wheel at the entrance of the Prater amusement park. It is one of Vienna's most popular tourist attractions, and represents a symbol of Vienna for many people.
Constructed in 1897, the Riesenrad is 212 feet or 65 meters high, and was the world's tallest Ferris wheel from 1920 until 1985.
This shows the location of the Riesenrad in the Prater, with respect to the Vienna cruise port.
Chapter 16. The Burgtheater opened in 1741, and is the Austrian National Theatre, and one of the most important German-language theatres in the world.
Chapter 17. Viennese food.
Viennese cuisine is best known for its pastries, but it includes a wide range of other dishes. Sachertorte is a prime example of Viennese pastries. It is 2 layers of chocolate cake with apricot jam in the middle.
Many Viennese dishes are heavily dependent on meats such as Wiener Schnitzel, which is veal coated in breadcrumbs and fried.
Apfelstrudel is a layered pastry filled with apples.
Chapter 18. Vienna hop-on hop-off bus tours.
For the first time visitor to Vienna, a good way to see the city is by a hop-on, hop-off bus tour. One such tour is offered by Big Bus Tour. It has 15 stops, and commentary in 13 languages.
Big Bus Tour offers 6 tour loops in Vienna, plus a walking tour and a boat tour.
This is a list of stops on the Big Bus Tour in Vienna.
This is the big bus red route.
This is the big bus blue route.
This is the big bus green route.
The Vienna Sightseeing is another tour bus company, with 60 stops around Vienna, including the Hofburg Palace, Vienna State Opera, City Hall, Schonbrunn Palace, Danube Tower and the Mozart Memorial. A 24 or 48-hour hop-on hop-off bus ticket includes a 1-hour walking tour.
This map shows the 3 loops of the Vienna Sightseeing hop-on, hop-off bus tour.
This is a list of stops on the 24 or 48-hour bus tickets for the red, yellow, and blue lines. Audio commentary is available in 16 languages. The 1-hour walking tour is available in English and German.
This is a list of stops on the 24 or 48-hour bus tickets for the Green Line.
This is a map of the Vienna Sightseeing hop-on, hop-off bus route in the Vienna city center.
3 boat cruise routes are available, with durations of 1.5 to 2 hours.
Chapter 19. The Danube.
This is the beautiful Wachau Valley on the Danube, between Melk and Vienna in Austria.
This shows the entire course of the Danube, from its source in the Black Forest of Germany, to the Danube Delta at the Black Sea.
The Danube River is the second largest river in Europe after the Volga.
The Danube flows for 2,860 kilometers, or 1,780 miles from the Black Forest of southeastern Germany, eastward to the Black Sea. It is more than twice as long as the Rhine, which is 1,233 kilometers long.
The Danube is the only river in Europe that flows from west to east, and is navigable from Ulm in Germany to the Black Sea.
The Danube River is an important international waterway, flowing through or forming a part of the borders of Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania.
Principal cities on or near the Danube are Regensburg, Passau, Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest, and Belgrade. Bucharest is close to, but not on the Danube.
The Danube serves as an important transportation corridor by linking the Black Sea to Western Europe, all of the way to the port of Rotterdam on the North Sea, via the Main-Danube Canal.
The Danube River basin can be divided into these 4 river sections: the upper, middle, and lower, and the Danube Delta at the Black Sea.
This shows the entire 14-day route of a cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest on the Rhine, Main-Danube Canal, and Danube rivers.
This shows the ports of call on the Danube from Regensburg to Budapest.
This shows the itinerary of a 3-week cruise from Amsterdam near the North Sea to Bucharest near the Black Sea.
Chapter 20. The Danube Locks.
This is a profile of the Danube River, from the head of navigation at Ulm to the Black Sea. There is a total drop of 500 meters in elevation and many locks are required for navigation.
We see that there are many locks between Kelheim, at the junction of the Main-Danube Canal, and Vienna.
There is a total of 47 locks on the entire length of the Danube. Between Regensburg and Vienna there are 15 locks. There is only 1 lock between Bratislava and Budapest.
2 locks are at the iron gates between Budapest and Bucharest. The last lock is at Cernavodă, downstream of most disembarkation ports for Bucharest, close to the Danube River Delta.
This shows the 9 locks on the Danube in Austria.
Chapter 21. Recommended videos, Vienna.
Recommended video, Vienna and the Danube, 25 minutes.
Recommended video, Vienna Vacation Travel Guide. Expedia. 6 minutes. 47 seconds.
Recommended video, Vienna Vacation Travel Video Guide, 25 minutes. 34 seconds. Recommended video, Vienna Sightseeing Tour Hop on. Hop off bus, 2 minutes. 6 seconds.
Recommended video, The Danube, River of Life, 39 minutes.
Recommended video, The Danube, 2 minutes. 49 seconds.
Recommended video, Vienna, Austria, The Danube and Milk Abbey, 4 minutes.
Table of contents.
Thanks for watching.